Yeah, man, good to see you again.
Yeah, you too, bro. How's the walk?
Oh, the walk was amazing. The body got smashed in that, and but it was all for a good cause, and brought a lot of awareness to concern we have in New Zealand. So that was cool. Did you follow the journey?
Oh, I was following you.
Brilliant. Yes.
Yeah,
So got to meet a lot of people on the way, and they all jumped on the team of Save One, which was awesome. So yeah, the more help we can have, the better, eh? So are you still at? Because I met you at Oakuni, didn't I? Taihape, that's right, coming through. Yeah, Taihape was an amazing place actually.
Yeah.
Had quite a few emotional people that I met in the township, and so it was a really special place on the journey. And then I remember you coming out the other side and telling me you were supposed to organise a parade and stuff like that, which was really neat.
Your date.
Yeah, no one really knew where I was. There was no GPS, and it was kind of cool though, because it was like I met the right people like yourself, and a lot of people that I needed to meet as well, with obviously trauma to suicide and what was going on at the time, which was really cool. It was Taihape. It was a neat place. Are you still at Taihape at the moment?
Yeah. I was up to Rotorua.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Might as well go up there, go do some, and went over to Epify.
Yeah.
And kind of like it there, eh?
Yeah, it's a special crew, eh? Like I was saying that I was out at the Auckland airport, and there's an Auckland fire crew out there, and they're really cool. Really neat job. Most of the time they're working out and inside, so weren't as busy, but they were still scheduled to outer area calls. So anything in the area, Mangere and that, they got called out and they'd help. But yeah, looked like a special thing. Yeah,
no, it's real cool. Like up in Rotorua, we still get called out to medicals and all of that. And Rotorua's quite a mental place. Eh?
I bet. There's a lot going on there, isn't there?
So much. So
I stayed in a hotel there, and obviously the hotels, because of COVID, they were given out to a lot of people in need and stuff as well. But I think a lot of the 501s as well who've been struggling. So the night I stayed there, the police got called out. This poor guy, he was just going through some stuff, and they tasered him because he wouldn't let them in the door, so they banged the door down and tasered the poor guy, and then they took him away. But yeah, I could see the impacts of what was going on, and obviously it's real hard fixing it. You try and do stuff to fix things, but when you put people all into a smaller area, sometimes it's not the best thing for them. But yeah, entertaining.
Yeah, it's entertaining. Crazy at the same time, eh?
Okay, Brandon, so I gave you some questions I was going to ask you. Obviously, for me, the cause I was doing was obviously trying to promote and the awareness for youth suicide. First responders are a massive part of that, and I have so much respect for you guys, man. I met quite a few along the way, and there was ambulance crews and that, and police on the way, and I, always reached out to them and said, thank you for what you're doing. So thanks for what you're doing, my man. Amazing job. We have no idea, what you guys go through, and if we had, a part of that understanding, I think, a lot more people would be just blown away at what you have to deal with.
Yeah.
At any time, morning, night, 24-hour services. So thanks for doing what you do, my bro. Love it. Yeah. So I'll get to some of those questions. So who is Brandon Panga?
It's a hard one. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I don't even know what to say with that.
I know it's a bigger question. It opens so many things. So like you were brought up in Taihape, your family's in Taihape. You went to school there, stuff like that.
No, so I was actually brought up in Otara in Auckland.
Oh, you're an Auckland boy. Well,
Yeah.
South
So-
Auckland.
Yeah, I think that's where it all started for me, like wanting to help.
Yeah.
Like, living in the poverty and seeing it all go down, and always seeing the fire trucks, the Otara fire station guys always out responding. Yeah, so that's where I grew up, and then I got moved. My old man was the army, and we moved down to Palmerston North, and went to school there, and
Yeah.
So that's what,
Also,
Yeah.
your dad was in the army. Was he military? What would you say? Did he get actually sent overseas to do some work and stuff like that?
in his days.
Yeah.
He'd done 20 odd years in the army, so
Wow.
yeah, and so it was my grandfather as well. So they all done big legs on those sides.
And that's part of the, I mentioned first responders, but I didn't mention the army, and that, and what they do is amazing as well, because even when we're not at war, they're overseas helping where they can and stuff like that. So
And in saying they've got their own, fire crews
yeah,
as well. They're out like the desert road, and got wide fire there that help us out a lot. So
oh,
yeah.
Oh, cool. So Auckland boy. Yeah, I was a South Auckland too. So I'm originally Bay of Plenty, in Whakatane. So I was brought up there, but I came up to Auckland, and then was pretty much mainly South Auckland for most of my life after that, which is we're a special breed, South Auckland, and we all have a bond there, and we do see a lot of things go on, and but it's still a really tight knit area. There's still a lot of family and a lot of caring, and there's a lot of good stuff that happens in South Auckland as well, which I always have it as home for me as well, my second home. So what obviously your dad being in the army, but what actually got you to join the fire crew?
I think as a kid, I've always liked that kind of stuff, seeing the fire trucks. Always thought a dream of mine was to join the army, but it really wasn't. It was actually to join the fire service. As a little kid, I've always wanted to ride the fire trucks, and so it's just, it's been a dream of mine to join. Hate it, but
yeah, that's another story, isn't it? So it was something did you get introduced to it when you were in Palmy at school, or did you just one day look at it and go, that's what I want to do, and signed up?
Yeah. So when I just turned 15 or 16, and I ran down to my volunteering brigade at my local time, which was Ashurst, and they bloody denied me,
Too young?
I don't know. Oh, you can join the volunteering service, I think, at 16, and they denied me. And I was like, oh, wow. Oh, I'm not going to take no for an answer, and went one above, and now I'm in careers, and
yeah, I reckon.
I came to the volunteering service here, and never back. It's another home, another brotherhood, and it's great career.
No, that's pretty cool. That's cool that volunteers, that's amazing as well, because you obviously got your life outside of what you're doing, and there's lots of drop when you need it, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't get enough credit, they're using their own gas, their own time, family time to go save someone else's family, or go see stuff that not everyone should be seen at certain times of the day or night. So they deserve a lot more credit.
I was actually in Rarahi, and I did a cleaning bee for my partner's mum that stays there. So, and the fire crew's right across the road from the house. So the fire station's right across the road. And so we were like, are we allowed to do a small? Don't tell me off. Are we allowed to do a small fire because it's semi-rural to burn a bit of the rubbish? And they said it was okay as long as it was white smoke. So these will be your terms that white smoke or black smoke. So then the neighbour came across and he said his son was, head of the crew there. So I was like, oh, okay. And so we started up the rubbish, and he's next to me with a little hose. I've got a little hose. And we put something on there that's a little bit too big, and it ended up going to black smoke. And next minute, it's black smoke. And the neighbours going, oh my God, it's black smoke. And next minute, the alarm goes off, the siren. So we're like, oh my God, fire crew's going to be here. And but as, so I was getting it under control, and then it kind of tampered down. The fire crew got to the station, they jumped in the fire engine, and they took off down the road. So they went away from where the fire was. And about 10 minutes later, they came back, and they were going everywhere but where it was, and they finally come over. But when they come over, I kind of always had it under control. But and then they went back to the station, which is kind of across the road. So we're having a bit of a giggle, saying that, here's our local fire crew, and we got a big fire, and they couldn't find us, and we were straight across the road from them. So, yeah. So, what about when joining? So the tests and the training, is that quite complex, or was it? How do you find it?
Well, the job I'm in now, the one was pretty straightforward. Just a typical, you're doing all the set on and a jacket, and your helmet and some structure gloves, and then you pretty much had to do a bit of dummy drag. You had to run out a reel. You had to carry 20-litre jerry cans, about like 40 or 50 metres there and back. It's not too bad. It's just if you pace yourself. And the FENZ are the exact same, but they also do like a team bonding one where you all got to work together on the final sector, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
It's pretty neat. So being a young guy or a young lady that were looking to join, as long as they're physically, like going to the gym, working out, stuff like that, or, doing a couple of runs a week, they'll do okay. Well,
fitness is important in general, especially if you want to come into that kind of career. You got to get your fitness up for your mental state, really, because, there's a lot of challenges that are going to be thrown at you. Like I had a really good challenge with a kid the other day. It's always hard seeing kids in a bit of pain or a bit of strife, sorry.
Yeah.
You just keep your mental game strong and focus on the job. Yeah.
So it's good. So it's a good, it's a good career, like if you want to stay fit and active and healthy as well, because a lot of like sports and athletes and like that, when they finish playing a sporting career, they drop off.
Yeah.
And you probably see the All Black show where they're coming back and they're trying to fighting fit. And you see how many of us kind of drop off that scale when you're not in a career that doesn't hold you accountable, I suppose.
So you're not paid to train.
Yeah, you're not paid to train. Like I said, that Auckland crew, man, they must be bloody fit because they're always working out. So that's pretty cool. Obviously when you're signed up, they all talk about when you're playing sports and then you have your first test. Obviously your first test is your job you're going to jump on. How did you find your first call out? Were you pretty nervous?
I can't remember my first. The nerves are usually quite high, especially like your first call outs, your first couple are usually like, oh shit, this is, you're gonna. And I remember like my first medical and all that, or MBAs. It's quite. You don't know what to expect because you've been trained about this kind of stuff, but you've never seen it. And then when you do see it, you're like, shakes. But after time, you learn and learn that it's part of life, and that you're not there to hurt anyone. You're there to try and rescue or try and recover someone's loved one at the end of the day, you know, and it's better for you to see that than someone else innocent. And, you know, we're trained for that. So that's how I look at it, and that's what I tell myself in my first one.
Yeah. Wow.
That, yeah, this is what you're trained for, and this is what you signed up for.
And the older crew looked after you. Obviously, you had the experienced team with you.
Your seniors definitely take you under the wing, and you know, some stations could be different, but mine was they walked you through it.
Yeah.
You don't just and then be like, yep, sweet, go deal with that. They're like, all right, so if anyone doesn't want to see something, or if you feel uncomfortable, let us know and we'll swap you out, maybe somewhere else. You know, there's going to be no judgment here. So, which is good. Yeah, especially when you're a rookie,
Yeah, it takes time sometimes,
Yeah.
With cargo, nothing compared to what you do, but we'd have human remains come through, so obviously being respectful, and like you said, it's, you know, passing loved ones on to the next stage.
Yeah.
A lot of our boys are very scared of, you know, handling human remains when I was dealing with it, and so you just, like you were saying, just manage them through that stage, and obviously, and just pass them on to the family. Sometimes the family would come do huckers out the front and stuff like that, which is really neat, but always, you know, always emotional.
And it's especially like, you know, when someone's really grateful for what you've just done for their family in this time of need, you know, because sometimes it's not always the best, but, you know, you feel grateful for what you've done.
I think you jumped on the right team, because obviously first responders cop a lot of negative stuff sometimes, and I think, you know, especially police showing up, they'd cop it a lot worse. And, everyone's really happy to see a fire crew. I mean, like, it's like, for some reason, it's probably especially, you know, all movies and just the generations of just the mana that fire crew have, and that's always about helping. I think you probably pick the best team to be on. Like, even the poor paramedics cop it quite bad too, eh?
Yeah, between us, we went to the Brothers in Blue there. Yeah, but I reckon we're the best.
Yeah.
I think, you know, like, they do a great job. We back them up and they back us up at times. And like two of my good, like, closest mates are cops.
Yeah.
But there is a dancer there, you know. But I guess it's to the some families react different when the Brothers in Blue turn up, and especially at a lot of medical jobs. Sometimes the cops will just come and assist us, you know, if we need help with it, and sometimes we can just escalate thinking, so they try to do their best.
Yeah, it was good that you guys worked together, like yourselves, the Ambo crew and the police. You know, it's good that you guys can work together as a team as well.
Definitely, like, working as a team goes a long way, eh?
Yeah.
There's no one.
So, training tests. So, what would your normal day look like? So you're in mainly at the airport in Road of Vegas. So.
Yeah, Road of Vegas.
Yeah.
I tell you now, ours is a lot cruiser than FENZ.
Yeah.
Wow. It's, you know, because we're mainly there for plane crashes, and how often does a plane crash? Barely ever. But we do get hit with a lot of medicals and stuff that happens outside the airport. So our days could be from getting there in the morning. So at the moment we got it quite nice. We're doing a 15-hour days. But we're only working 2 days and then 4 days off.
Wow, so, not bad. That's not bad.
I chose to go there.
The Auckland crew's got a hovercraft. Have you guys got one out in Rotorua as well?
You can pretty much walk on the lake.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, if, let's say, touch wood, it never happens, but if a plane crashes into the lake, we pretty much could almost drive our Panther truck out there, or
wow,
that's very deep, hey?
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, but we are looking at getting a kind of boat to work on it for the lake, for water rescues and stuff like that. Yeah.
In the future Rotorua, they obviously, I know, because I had a lot to do with the airport, they were trying to be international at one stage, so that could be happening at some stage in the future, eh?
Yeah, well, they were for a bit. I think in 2015 or 9. Yeah, they went international for a period of time, and I think there's talk about it happening again after all this comes back to normal, which will be a lot busier.
Yeah, there'll be 2 more days on your shift pattern, eh? So
Wow.
enjoy it at the moment.
Yeah, they're looking at changing it back next month.
Oh wow, yeah.
Back onto 4 on 4 off.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Oh yeah, speaking of that, because obviously the first thing. So you're a dad as well. So you obviously got a partner. You just got one, or?
Yeah. So I've got 2 kids.
Cool.
So I've a 2-year-old son, almost 3 in August, and then a daughter that's 1.
Oh wow, early, young.
Yeah. So, pretty full on.
That must be challenging still with your shift work and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest here. It is quite challenging, especially like after it's 2 days, but the 2 big full-on days. You're
16 hours. That's pretty much full day. That's full day work basically. Yeah.
When I do get home, because I travel straight after my shifts, so once 8:30 hits, I'm on the road back to Taihape.
Wow.
Yeah. My first days off are usually quite worn out.
Well, that's cool. And what's your kids' names?
So I got Hunter and Azalea.
Oh, beautiful, cool names. And obviously your little girl will keep you busy in line too, and that's going to be now and the future. So just look forward to that.
Yeah.
No, that's really neat. And so and your partner are married yet or not yet, or?
No, not married.
Not married yet. So yeah, watch out, all these single ladies. Your partner's going to be concerned until you're married, so you need to jump on there when you can. Being a fireman, young, handsome, and in Rotor Vegas. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So what about your dad and mum and your partner? Obviously there's a risk when you're doing a job that you're doing. How do they cope with that? Are they pretty understanding? I mean, you never know what's going to happen, but I mean that's life general. But in your job, there's going to be times where you're going to put yourself at a lot more risk.
Yeah, well, yeah, you do get put under a lot of risk. Even volunteers get put under quite a bit of risk. Yeah, like I've had that talk with my partner. If anything ever happens, but not really with my parents. I don't think they kind of understand what we do.
Yeah.
Well, like firefighters actually do. Yeah, I don't know. I've never really talked to them about it. I think that's one parent's thing that they only want us to talk about.
Yeah.
That's what it's me or. Yeah. But touch wood.
Yeah. I think it's always a scary thing for family, and like you said, understanding. Like I know, and probably the fire crew up in Auckland. There'd be so many different scenarios, and older buildings, and big warehouses, and chemicals, and even Rotor Vegas. There's still quite a few different things that that you'd be looking at and stuff like that. So. Again, appreciating what you're doing, Brandon, because the risk. When most people are at home and they hear a fire truck go, at 2 in the morning or something, you're aware that it's happening, but that's all you're doing, and you hear about it later.
Yeah, definitely.
So again, thanks for what you're doing, buddy, because the risk is you probably undermine it a bit. The risk is that you're putting yourself out there to save people, and sometimes that we do lose firefighters, and that's that's really sad when we're losing our first responders. But for a lot of people, for a lot of people watching this thing, understanding the risk is important for them, because that's when you get your respect, and that's not just yourself, that's the AMBO crew, and then you got your rescue crews, and then you've got obviously the police that have to put themselves in harm's way as well. But yeah, thanks for what you do, bro. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So what would be the challenges with the job? So what are the challenges? I know we've covered a bit, but what would be your challenges with the job?
Like call-wise and stuff like that.
Like in general, obviously, we all have jobs that we do, and we find things a little bit tougher to deal with, or sometimes we find jobs that we don't want to deal with, and then there's probably things that a little bit, customer service, dealing with that tough customer and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, me being a young father, when I see kids, kids are my biggest weakness, but sometimes you just push through it and try and either save the kid or do what you can. That's my biggest challenges of the job, even volunteering, is dealing with kids is quite the hardest part. That's
a good segue onto what kind of support do you get. Obviously, it's pretty tough to come across something that's pretty horrific, and especially to do with kids and that. So what do you have enough support, or do you think you need a bit more support in the industry?
Oh, that's a hard one to answer, right? Because I know there's different aspects with FENZ and all of that, with support. Myself, I think I've got great support. Like sometimes all it takes is just to come and have a cuddle with my kids.
Yeah.
And then sort of brings me back down and put back to earth kind of thing. And it's hard to answer that question for the rest of the firefighters out there, or first responders. And I think some places could use a bit more support. Yeah.
And it's a bit like, I was talking about the risks and stuff, and again, nothing, when I was dealing with cargo at the airport, but we had 21 airlines, and sometimes getting jobs done, it's adrenaline rush, on time frames and stuff, and obviously you yourself would deal with that, with what you do, and a lot of that's adrenaline as well. So, obviously adrenaline, when it's pumping, it's really good, it feels good because you want to get something done. It's really amazing when you can do amazing stuff. So how do you cope with that adrenaline dropping? How do you?
Sometimes you just gotta bring yourself back down, eh? Like you just gotta stop yourself, because sometimes that can actually get you killed.
Yeah.
Like a house fire or something. That like, you could be too pumping that much, you walk straight past the patient.
Yeah.
And sometimes they could hide behind the door, and you just bust that door, and you just. So you just really got to pace yourself in this kind of job, eh? And not just rush in and slow down and remember what you're for and what you're doing.
Staying calm and collective, eh? And I could definitely, I could see that as because we watch movies, the normal people of us, we can see these movies where we see obviously the fire crew go running in and doing these
outdoors,
super dangerous stuff, and I'm not saying but then the flames going over the head, and then a lot of times in those movies you had that loose cannon, which put the crew at risk as well. So I guess that's a bit what you're addressing on that. If you don't have a cool head, someone can get hurt.
Yeah, you don't want to be a hot shot.
No. Would you, obviously, what would you say to people, like, if they were, like, in a situation, like, let's say, a warehouse or something caught fire and stuff? What would you say? What would you recommend for most people to do? Obviously hit the alarm.
Definitely. Do your priorities first, dialing 111 and all of that. But main thing is, if like if you're in a warehouse or something, make sure you know your way out. And usually all the exit signs are usually glowing. And just stay calm and stay low, really.
Yeah.
Because smoke can kill before the flame. So just stay low and get out, really.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sure. So there's a good bit. What's the rewards of your job?
Oh, mine for myself. The rewards is knowing that I've helped someone today, or yesterday, or tomorrow. You know, and like even up in Rotorua, that's what I love my job. You know, like you could just have an easy job where an old lady falls over, you know, she just grazes her arm, but you still made some kind of difference.
Yeah.
So that's good. And putting on my uniform every day is an reward. Yeah.
Obviously, you get a few calls from the old ladies falling over. They must know you quite well in Rotorua.
You know, they hook out with their granddaughters and.
So what would you if a young person was out there watching this, what would you advise for them to be if they were interested in joining the fire services?
Yeah, it's a good career, or even volunteering. Volunteering is even a great way to start, like myself.
Yeah.
It is. You learn so much about life. You look at life so much more differently, and you're a lot prouder person because you're making a difference in your own community. And you get to do some pretty cool stuff. You know, you can go out to Rotorua, go to NTC, the National Training Centre, and you get to go in some pretty hot fires and fight some pretty good fires, and you get to do some cool stuff. There's a lot of things you get to do. You get to play with cutting gear, ripping cars apart, wrecking stuff. So it's a great stuff. That breaking stuff, it's a place to be.
Yeah,
because I'm shit at work.
Hey, most of our youth, like a lot of them who are joining like fire service or army, most of them into sports and stuff like that. So is there any sports avenue once you join, obviously?
Big time. Well, with us, you know, with firefighters, we kind of have our own kind of sports. So, you know, we do the leukemia Sky Tower Run, the Firefighters Challenge.
Yeah.
The Sky. I'm doing that on the 20th of August as well.
Yeah.
We have a thing called the Combat Challenge. We verse other firefighters from around the country with full level 2s, BAC, mask, and you're running with a hose, squirting through doors, busting through, dragging the dummy run up to the set of stairs, and we also have sports teams versus police and all of that. So we usually challenge in quite a lot.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so
that's pretty cool. And what's the diversity like? So is there many females in your crew, or is it mainly male?
Oh, hands down, it's good female base and FENZ as well. And it's the women are almost beating the men, you know?
I believe it.
My last shift partner, she's now gone over to St. John's. Oh, she was tougher than me, I reckon, at some things.
Oh, wow. So I've done a lot of coaching with youth, and it's been mixed with females and males at some point. So sometimes I've done female teams and males, and then watched a few go through pathways to sevens and higher with league and rugby and stuff. And honestly, you know, if we went back, 5 or 10 years ago and watched the female rugby team, it wasn't really good to watch. It was frustrating. But now when you watch them, like you were saying, they're actually really competing, if not outbeating some of the male stuff.
Hands down. Yeah, hands down. And having a female on the team can make the job a lot easier, especially when, you got Uncle Bill that's had a heart attack or, he's gone into cardiac arrest. And a female is usually really good to comfort people and, while we're getting to work on that patient, or sometimes they're really well skilled at medical jobs because they're so well that kind of stuff. So females are hands down best for the service.
And you're saying that she went from pathway from the fire crew to actually EMBO. So yeah. So there'd be a bit of that, wouldn't there? There'd be a lot more options to have a go at something else that you might be interested in.
the fire service opens up so many doors for you, eh? It's just like saying that if you're like a police or an army fellow, you know, a lot of doors do open.
Yeah.
And so it's the fire service, you know, if you're an ex-firefighter, there's a lot of pathways you go to after that. Yeah. And FENZ do look after you because you can, multiple jobs, even just going around to schools teaching about fire safety and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
No, it's pretty neat. Have you done a bit of that? Have you gone to a couple of schools to have a chat? Not yet.
I'll wait till I have one then.
It would be good. It would actually be good to get a young guy in there. You know, they should actually take a younger crew in too, because you know that is like promoting that it's a good career path for a lot of them. To see it, no, it's actually a pretty good idea because they relate more to younger crew members coming through.
And Taihape, they expo day today of the police and fire and heaps of other organisations went to the local school and they borrowed one of the volunteer trucks from Taihape and set up a stand, and it was pretty wicked, pretty cool to see.
How did because your dad was in the army, how did you not go in the army and join the fire crew that way? Was there any reason you didn't take that avenue?
I tried,
You did?
Like, for some reason I didn't have the brains to get into the army. I was like, okay.
It is quite tough. My nephew went for it. My boy failed because he had a bit of a heart issue. So he was all good on all that side, on the academic side, but he couldn't go through because he had a slight heart problem. And my other nephew, who was fully fit, just always struggled with tests. It was just some people struggle with tests. It makes it a little bit more harder. So maybe they should come up with better ways, maybe, because you get the right people in there is important.
Definitely.
Oh, cool. So we covered quite a few good questions there, eh? So like any young person coming through watching this will have a lot more idea on what, you know, they can do and if it's a career path, because a lot of what I do is, you know, is that youth suicide awareness, and a lot of our young people struggle for an idea of a direction to go, and that can be quite tough sometimes. So you know, so hopefully we can share this around a bit, and some of our younger members can watch this, and maybe they're going to be Brandon Panga in the future, and get into that airport scenario too, which would be pretty neat.
Oh, I didn't even finish high school,
Yeah.
Like, dropped out quite early. So I didn't know what I was doing in life.
Bit of an action man, that's why, because you're all action, you wanted the action.
But yeah, now look at me now. What, 25 now, and man,
I'm doing really well. You know, a couple of kids on, you know, you're looking after, and that's a good point. You know, a lot of people, school's not always for them. I have a bit to do with schools at the moment, so I see kids struggle at the primary age now, and I know they're going to struggle as they get older. So again, you know, a lot of my fighters, trying to bring in better things for them, so they don't go that path which I'm trying to stop, and the path where you end up finding the end result of these young people that we might lose. So hopefully together we can do some cool things. And when you're up in Auckland in August, let me know, because I'll come down, bring the camera, and we'll film you a bit doing your action, and put pressure on that time, eh?
Yeah, put a bit of pressure on. Jeez.
So wasn't it a female that won it one year? I know it was a really good time as well.
I wouldn't hesitate.
So what do you think the future, like, I don't want to put too much, because, you know, what do you think the future for you in the fire crew? Do you see yourself going higher, like a chief or something like that?
Oh, yeah, I'd like to, but you know, in the end, it's all hard work at the end of the day, and putting in that time and working towards it. So that would be the plan for the end of the day.
Any mentors you've got at the moment? Any mentor you've got there at the moment?
Oh, got a few, eh?
Yeah.
Few deputy chiefs and all that. They're really good, and our last chief that just left for better career. He was a great mentor, and he was actually young. He was our one of our chiefs, and he was a 28th, I think.
Wow, that's a good achievement to be achieved as well.
I think he's even the deputy of his volunteer station.
Wow.
You know, he's accomplished a lot, and he went from being at what's it called on St. John's, and then working his way up into the rescue choppers, and then into the grounds, and then becoming a trainer at the National Training Centre, and so he's done. He's in 28, 27 years. So.
He's done a lot in a short time, eh? That's pretty neat.
Life to the fullest.
I can see that direction for you.
Hopefully.
Obviously, that's a challenge to recruitment. I have been seeing quite a few things where we're short on firefighters and first responders, which seems to be, that's not only putting people at risk, it's actually putting people like you at risk when you haven't got enough members on the truck or in the crew to do the job. Do you think they're finding ways to improve that?
Oh, I'd like to say that they are. I'd really hope so, because a lot of my mates who are career staff over at FENZ say it's quite a bit of a struggle. Especially some of the stations up in Auckland haven't been able to respond trucks out the door because they just don't have enough staff, or they've had to close for the day. So, and it's a big danger for the community, because there's just more time for other fire services to come from different regions to come support that area. It's more time on someone's life, or less time. So. And
you probably know it usually doesn't happen in ones or twos. Usually, you get these situations where quite a thing, it all happens at once.
Yeah.
And when you're short, that's really scary.
Yeah, being short crewed is the worst.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've lost a lot of experienced firefighters, or do you?
Oh, hands down, yeah. Like a good mate of mine, who was a very very good firefighter. He has a career down in Wellington, and he left just with all the the mandates and all of that. A lot of good firefighters have left because of that, which is sad, because
Is it still currently in place, or is it?
I think police and army. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is for fire and ambos. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that makes it pretty tough when you're already struggling and then you lose some good members. It makes it really tough.
Yeah. Well, look at the FENZ. They're doing between 80 to 100 hours a week.
Yeah.
Their mental health is important as well.
Yeah.
As communities. So.
That's, and that was one of my fights as well, was because a lot of my thing was the youth with the mandates, was understanding that pressure on them, and obviously not being at school or not being able to play sport at that time. Luckily, New Zealand sport came around, and it was halfway through my walk, so it made me really happy. I actually had a tear in my eye when I heard they actually backtracked, so I felt like I was a bit of a part of that, which was cool. And just seeing our kids, making sure that they're in a good spot mentally, mentally health and well-being is so important. And making sure we're supporting guys like yourself, making sure that you guys, for any reason, should have the numbers the best you can. I think you'll always struggle with a recruitment no matter what, everyone in general, but making sure that we're not losing these amazing people that have done a great job for an arguably reason,
Yeah.
So hopefully they come to. Hopefully those guys will come back at one point if they. Yeah, and that's tough because usually you've lost them and they've found another direction or another job, which is really hard to get them back in.
Yeah, I think we're going on. Not me, but I think FENZ are doing a bit of a strike on the 13th this month. Oh,
brilliant! I'll support that totally. Keep us up to date with that, because we've got to look after you, and we've got to make sure that we look after each other, and making sure that good people are in the right places is really important. And you don't want to. lessen your lines for recruitment. Obviously, if you're letting people into a job that might not suit them because you just need them, this can put you at risk as well. And that's what I'm scared of.
Yeah, that's why I suggest, have a bit of volunteering time first.
Yeah.
And you're not obligated to show up every day or show up to every call. Or
I think you signed up probably about another 100 kids that want to join the fire crew after you said you just work 2 days and have 4 days off. So.
Yeah, that's the cream. That's the cream line right now.
Yeah.
Up and COVID, and so that's like go on or off just because of staffing issues. Yeah.
That's a good point, and obviously, on my walk, obviously, that was about taking hope, and you carried hope for a small part of the year, lifted hope, and you got an amazing pic with you as well. But it was like making sure that we all understand the risks of our youth at the moment, and making sure that we understand that, and you're still quite young yourself, when we're losing 25 unders quite rapidly at the moment. So, and you obviously, first responders come across that.
Quite what?
Yeah. So, do you guys have support in that case? Like, obviously, coming across that, you need someone to talk to, or keep check on you. I mean, because it's a tough thing to come across.
Yeah, no, definitely, it definitely is hard. But like, I'm gonna relate to with the Volley Brothers. Usually every station or every volunteer brigade will have a debrief afterwards, and we'll talk about what affected us, or or if we're needing a bit more help. And it's great because they'll get you some help. They'll put you through the right people to help you after a job that you've seen, or
So, I think it's important because obviously with the last 2 years and what we're going into, it's going to be a lot more, as much as everyone's trying to fight and the work we're trying to do to try and prevent it. Unfortunately, it's going to be a lot more of it, happening. And one of the reasons I've got on the walk was our son's mate at school committed suicide because his dad committed suicide the day before, and then 3 months later we lost his best mate as well. And it's like a ripple effect. So once it gets into play, it kind of does a lot of damage. Just one does a lot of damage.
I remember learning this first. What walks in the father runs in the son. For my kids, I'll get to be the leader and be the one to make the way for them, so that they up to and idolise them. And that's why I love my job, because I'm doing all those things right now.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, making that way for them, and hopefully they don't have to see some of the stuff that I've had to see.
Yeah, and we'll fight for that. So we'll fight for that together. Like, I'm still pushing what I'm doing. I get out as much as I can. I try and find ideas where it's a little bit out there that you get a bit more publicity, just so you get that awareness out there. Like, for me, it's nothing to do with me. It's all to do with hope and what she means. And you left an amazing message on hope as well. It was awesome to meet you that day. Everyone I met, gave me a good lift. And it was funny, we're talking about the parade. So, and there was another guy called Paul that was walking through the country, carrying a cross for Jesus. And people would mix him up with me, and they would say, "I saw you in Picton," and I was like, "I'm not down in the South Island. I'm up the north." And I thought some people were just taking the mickey a couple of times, just teasing. But then I found out that he was walking as well, and we actually met each other in Wellington. We come across each other in Wellington, which was amazing. And he's an amazing guy too, and he'd actually been touched with suicide, but his brother committed suicide. So we had a bond apart from the cross straight away. But he got amazing. When he was in Picton, they did a massive welcome for him and celebrated him coming through. And he said to me, he goes, if I wasn't doing what I was doing, he never would have got that welcome because they thought we were the same person. And I said to him, I was just so happy that he got, a bit of recognition for what he does, because he goes right across the whole country. So, I just did a small portion, or, do the walkthrough I need to, just to try and get the awareness. So it's quite amazing that, it was pretty cool actually that, he did that and he got the parade.
Actually,
no, he's really cool, and he's out there, so I'm going to try and link with him and do something together as well, because that'd be pretty neat, and but I'll keep you in touch with that. But when you again, Brandon, thank you for what you do, man. I'm just blown away, for as a senior positive, and your charm and what you do and your love for the job, bro, because seeing that just makes it glow, and hopefully there's some young people out there that are watching this and they want to become in the fire crew and follow your steps as well, and hopefully we get a few signed up to help you out as soon as we can as well.
It would be great.
But keep me in touch with that in August. If you haven't got anywhere to stay, let me know. You can come crash at my place in Auckland if you want, and I'll come film you, hopefully, down and get your time and get the gold medal, hopefully. How many flights of stairs is that?
Is it 52 flights of stairs, I think?
That's...
Don't hold me to it. I've been thinking about that every time I'm training.
How do you train for that?
So at work, we've got the stairs there, so I just do multiple laps of that. Home, guys from here, we go down to the grandstand and train down there.
Oh, I'm sure you do well. Do well. But you keep me in the loop, and I'll come down and film it and put it on the page as well. My man, awesome catching up with you. Like I said, it was a privilege to meet you on the way, and you gave me some energy to carry on. Taihape was an amazing town, actually. A lot of really neat people in Taihape, and I met so many people that kind of touched my heart when I was there as well. And everything like that, going through a township, that was my next push, to get through. So thanks for that. And big hug to the kids at home, and should be proud of Dad and your partner as well. So great job, and just all the best. And hopefully I'll see you in August, and I'll do a bit of camera work for you. I'll try to get you when you're not, when you're breathing, so you're not bent over and. But I'm sure you do fine, and like I said, I'll share this out. I'll send you a copy and let me know what you think. And once you give me the green light, I'll go ahead with it. Like I said, it's about supporting what you guys do, and making sure that people recognise the risk you take. Make sure people understand that you're there to help, and you guys are doing an amazing job as well.
Thanks, man. Thanks quite a lot.
Nah, cool, my bro. Well, you take care, and keep in touch, and I'll send you a copy of this.
Awesome. Alright.
Much love, my bro. Hey, save one.
Save.
You're saving heaps already, so there we go. Sharp, my bro. Take care.